It was February 2024, a cold New York afternoon. The kind where the wind bites through your coat, no matter how many layers you're wearing. Ethan Cole sat in a small coffee shop in Brooklyn, his laptop open in front of him, the screen glowing with a few open tabs, mostly crypto charts and news feeds. But he wasn't really paying attention to them. His mind was elsewhere. 2 hours ago, his girlfriend of 3 years, Madison, had broken up with him. She always liked nice things: designer bags, fancy restaurants, trips to Miami. Ethan had tried to keep up, but between his part-time coding job and his obsession with starting his own business, money was tight. Madison used to say she believed in his vision, but lately, her patience had been wearing thin. That afternoon, she told him she'd met someone else. "His name's Tyler," she said, eyes bright like she'd won a prize. "He owns 3 nightclubs in Manhattan. He just gets me, Ethan. He can give me the life I deserve." Ethan just stared at her, unable to process it. Tyler? A nightclub owner? This wasn't a movie. He wasn't supposed to lose his girl to some rich guy with perfect hair. The breakup stung like acid in his veins. Not just because he lost her, but because of the way she looked at him on her way out. Like he was small. Like he'd never be enough. The turning point. For 2 days, Ethan was a wreck. He barely ate, barely slept, scrolling endlessly through Instagram, only to see Madison posting photos with Tyler. Champagne, rooftop dinners, and front row seats at Knicks games. But then, something shifted. He remembered something his late father used to say. "Son, they only count you out if you let them. You want to change the game? Work until the people who doubted you can't look you in the eye anymore." Ethan shut off his phone. He decided he was done feeling sorry for himself. The hustle begins. Ethan already knew blockchain technology inside out. He'd been dabbling in crypto since college, but never with full focus. Now, he went all in. He worked 12-hour days, studying decentralized finance, NFTs, and Web3 startups. He joined online communities, networked in Discord servers, and even attended local blockchain meetups in Manhattan. One night in March 2024, while reading through a crypto white paper, he saw an opportunity. A group of developers was building a platform for microtransactions between content creators and audiences, a sort of Patreon on blockchain with ultra-low fees. They needed seed funding. Ethan didn't have much, but he invested almost everything he had left, about $6,000. Then, he started building his own trading strategy to grow that stake. The grind pays off. By June 2024, things began to change. His investment in the startup tripled in value after a viral TikTok about the platform exploded. His crypto trading strategies, careful, calculated, and disciplined, started paying off. But he didn't just trade. Ethan launched his own consultancy for small businesses wanting to integrate blockchain into their payment systems. He worked with cafes, online stores, and indie game developers. His reputation spread, and by September 2024, he was making more per month than he used to make in a year. The encounter. In October, Ethan attended a tech conference in Miami. That's where he met Lily. She was a UX designer working on a mental health app that used AI to provide early emotional support to users. She was smart, driven, and completely uninterested in flashy lifestyles. They spent hours talking about design, ethics in tech, and their mutual love for old-school hip-hop. When Ethan told her about his crypto journey, she didn't seem impressed by the money, only by the grit it took to get there. By December, they were officially together. It was different with her. With Lily, he didn't feel like he was constantly auditioning for approval. The breakthrough. The early months of 2025 didn't just feel like a new chapter for Ethan. They felt like a completely different book. What had started as a desperate attempt to prove himself had transformed into something far bigger. His blockchain consultancy, once just him with a laptop and a cramped Brooklyn apartment, was now a 10-person team in a sleek glass-walled office overlooking Lower Manhattan. The energy in the office buzzed daily. Developers scribbled diagrams on whiteboards, marketing leads debated campaign strategies, and new clients streamed in for consultations. Ethan had gone from begging people to listen to his ideas to having CEOs fly in from other states just to pitch him. Their biggest success story was still fresh in the news, integrating a stablecoin payment system for a growing chain of fitness centers. No monthly credit card fees, instant transactions, loyalty rewards built directly into the blockchain ledger. The system was so seamless that other companies started calling within days of the launch. When a major tech blog featured them with the headline, "The Blockchain Entrepreneur Changing How Businesses Handle Money," the article was reposted by influencers, quoted by industry analysts, and even discussed in a financial YouTube channel with millions of subscribers. It was surreal. For months, Ethan's phone had been blowing up with opportunities, podcasts, conference panels, investment offers. Even people who had once ignored his emails were now calling him visionary and ahead of the curve. By March, his net worth officially crossed into 7 figures. He wasn't just surviving anymore, he was thriving. But deep down, he knew the numbers weren't what made him proud. What made him proud was the fact that he had built this from nothing, brick by brick, fueled not by revenge anymore, but by the simple, stubborn belief that he could. The twist of fate. Spring arrived in New York, and with it came an invitation, a charity gala in Manhattan for expanding tech education in underfunded schools. Ethan and Lily decided to attend, not for publicity, but because the cause genuinely mattered to them. The venue was breathtaking, a glass-walled rooftop bathed in the glow of city lights, with the Empire State Building standing like a sentinel in the distance. Inside, soft jazz drifted through the air, mingling with the quiet clink of champagne flutes. Waiters in black and white moved between the guests, carrying silver trays topped with delicate canapés and perfectly chilled glasses. Ethan, in a perfectly tailored navy suit, carried himself with the easy confidence of someone who no longer felt the need to prove himself. Lily, in a sleek black evening dress with a simple diamond pendant resting at her collarbone, looked effortlessly graceful. And then, as though scripted by fate, he saw her, Madison. She was standing near the bar, a tall glass of champagne in her hand, dressed in shimmering silver that caught the light with every movement. Her hair was styled to perfection, her makeup flawless, but there was something in her posture, a subtle tightness in her shoulders, a faint restlessness in her eyes. Their gazes locked, and for a moment, time seemed to slow down. A flicker of recognition, a brief widening of her eyes, and then something else, something closer to regret. The approach. Madison crossed the room quickly, her smile practiced, but just a little too bright. "Ethan," she said, her voice smooth, but with an undertone of surprise. "Wow, I almost didn't recognize you. You look incredible." Ethan smiled politely. "Thanks. This is Lily." Lily extended her hand with an easy smile. Madison shook it,
her eyes scanning her quickly, the subtle way some people measure another person without saying a word. She noticed the Cartier watch on Ethan's wrist, the custom tailoring of his suit, and the way Lily seemed completely at ease beside him. "She's been hearing about you. Crypto King, huh? You're all over my feed these days. I'm proud of you." She hesitated. "Maybe we could catch up sometime, just to talk." The shift inside him. There was a time, not so long ago, when those words would have been everything he wanted to hear. When he would have imagined this exact moment, Madison seeing what she had lost, wishing she could come back. But now, standing here, with the city lights reflecting in Lily's eyes and the weight of everything he'd accomplished resting comfortably on his shoulders, he realized something strange. He didn't feel triumph. He didn't feel the need to gloat. He simply felt nothing for her. All he saw was a person who had once measured his worth by the depth of his pockets, and who had left the moment those pockets seemed empty. And beside him was someone who never asked for anything but truth, kindness, and effort. He met Madison's gaze and spoke evenly. "I appreciate it, but I'm exactly where I want to be, and with who I want to be with." The words landed softly, but they carried the finality of a closing door. Madison's smile faltered just for a second before she recovered with a nod. "Well, good for you, Ethan. Really." And then she turned and slipped back into the crowd, her shimmering dress disappearing among the other guests. Full circle. Hours later, after the gala, Ethan and Lily walked through the warm spring night. The streets were alive with neon light and the distant hum of late-night traffic. Somewhere far off, a street musician played a slow, wistful saxophone tune. Ethan thought about the past year, the heartbreak, the grind, the long nights when it felt like the world didn't even know he existed. He thought about how everything had changed and how somewhere along the way, the reason he worked so hard had shifted. It wasn't about proving Madison wrong anymore. It was about proving himself right. As they passed a rooftop where fireworks suddenly bloomed in the air, Lily laughed softly, her hand squeezing his. Ethan smiled, realizing the real win wasn't in the wealth or the reputation, or even the public recognition. The real win was walking beside someone who saw his worth before the world did, and knowing he'd built a life that no one could take away from him.